Hello again, fight fans. I am Jason BURGOS for Sherdog.com, and I'm joined by a former Cage Warriors champion who will be making his UFC debut July 15 on Yas Island in Abu Dhabi. There he will face off with another promotional newcomer in Andreas Michailidis, and that man is Modestas Bukauskas. Modestas, thanks for the time tonight, and congratulations on landing your UFC debut in one of the hottest places on the planet.
Oh yeah, mate, it's absolutely amazing. I could do it with it being a tad colder, especially coming from London and everything. But yeah, mate, I'm so happy to be here. It's such an amazing venue, such an amazing place. So yeah, it's good to be out here.
Now, a UFC debut is very pressurized, but you will have to undertake it under very unusual circumstances. This is the first time you've had to compete under this new pandemic normal of ours, meaning the testing, social distancing, masks on at weigh-in, and of course a venue with no fans. Plus, there is the question of, will the heat, like we've talked about, be a factor at all there? For fighters, visualization is key, but this will not be the scenario I'm sure you had in mind for all these years. How have you tried to mentally prepare for all of this? Have you just been getting advice from teammates or friends in the industry that have either one, competed in this new normal, and two, maybe even competed in the Middle East, just to get an idea of how to be ready for this?
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, obviously stuff like this, it's just a case of having to adapt to the situation no matter what it is. I mean, listen, with the whole pandemic thing and, having to quarantine, meaning you have to train in your room and stuff like that, you just got to find a way. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, if there's a problem in front of you, you just got to find a solution. I've had that on many occasions in my career, and like I said, I've just become quite accustomed to it in now any life situation. Anything that's sort of a bit scary, different, there's a lot of pressure, whatever, I just embrace it. I just embrace every moment because I'm like, it's a bloody experience, all of it. It's absolutely amazing. So, quarantining for 2 days isn't great, and then going on the plane and then quarantining another 2 days, but at the end of the tunnel, it's all going to be over, and it's all still part of the process because you can still do certain things and sort of figure things out and drill stuff or train stuff. I was very lucky that they put me and my dad in the same room, who's my head coach, so everything worked out really great in terms of when we were quarantining here in Yas Island. In terms of no fans, I think it's just going to bring me back to the memories of I had when I went to I actually trained in Brazil when I was 21, just before my pro debut, and I remember it was like a proper it was almost like a backyard alley brawl. You have all the fighters just waiting on the corner of the cage, waiting for just two people on their own to stay in the cage, do a couple rounds, and there'll be the next pair that goes in. It's like, it will have that sort of theme, I can imagine, going into the cage, everything's very quiet, all you're hearing is the coaches or, some of the fighters screaming a little bit of advice here and there. So, like I say, I mean, listen, to have it on a stage just like this, they built everything specifically for this event and stuff like that. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's not going to take anything away from any of our performances, actually. So, at the end of the day, when you're a fighter, you got to go out there and just do your thing. It doesn't matter. Like for me, when I go out to the cage, mate, I may see my family, my friends or whatever. I literally maybe gaze at them for 1 second, then I'm like, okay, that's it. Tunnel vision. I can't see nothing. I'm literally hollow. So it's I just block everything out, So it's going to be exactly the same because, like I said, all I notice when I go out there is the cage. I don't really notice the people. I think it's going to have a bit of tranquility, and it will have that extra calm in there, which will, I think, bring for better performances, really. So, yeah, like I said, I can't wait.
Now, I didn't know that your father was your trainer, so that begs the question, how great is it to be on this journey with him all through these various steps, and even on this journey of Middle Eastern fights, Abu Dhabi, Fight Island together, quarantining together? Does it even make the process that much better and honestly that much more special that you're telling your kids and he's telling the grandkids about that we did this together back then?
Oh, yeah, mate. I can't even begin to tell you. It just makes me emotional just even thinking about it. We've been through so much together. We literally been through so much together. I don't want to get too soppy, but times where
get soppy, do it.
But times where things didn't go my way or things weren't going so well. He always believed in me. He always pushed me. He always tried to push to get the best out of me. And he always believed in me. When everyone turned their back on me, he was basically one of the only people to really keep telling me, like, Modestas, you're going to do this. I believe in you. Like, you got the skills. You just need to have it, this and that. And, and he was always there for me. So especially when I first won the Cage Warriors World title and I put the belt on his shoulder, that meant a lot to me. So even now, like, him coming with me, him being a fighter back in the day, him not really getting the opportunity to go out and show his skill set to the world, because it was just at a particular time when, UFC only just came out and he wasn't able to do that. So it's almost like he's living vicariously through myself. He's living through my success and my dreams and stuff like that, and we're living it together. So we're basically achieving the same goals and the same dreams that he had, but now it's being done through myself, and I love that. I love to carry him with me through the whole process. You can see how much he loves it and like the whole situation. Although he knows we got to go and do the business, we got to go and do the job. Like, it's good that we can change it between father and son, and coach and student. So we change things up really well. Like, he puts that emotion in there, like with everything that I do, but everything's just done specifically to make me the killer that I need to be. So, like I said, I'm very thankful for him. He's been a massive integral part to my whole development, not just as a fighter, but as a person. So when it goes into the cage, I know when I go and raise my hand in victory, it's going to mean a hell of even a lot more when I go and hug him after the fight.
Now, Cage Warriors is a major promotion in the UK because it is seen as like a major jumping off point to some of the biggest promotions in the world. Sort of like, how LFA can be here in the US. You fought for them 6 times, including defending your light heavyweight title in your last fight. How important is how important in it was your development, working through the organization, working the many stages up to becoming champion, defending the title, for a promotion of note like that. And, do you feel also that like UK fighters need to go there to really be ready for that UFC jump? Do you feel it's really aided you in preparing for this major jump?
100%. I mean, listen, it's the biggest promotion in Europe by far, and they give you the greatest exposure. A lot of European fighters tend to want to come to Cage Warriors, where they may have been doing well in their own particular promotions in their own countries, and then to win a title in Cage Warriors, it just means so much. You know what I mean? It's such a big bargaining tool for you to get yourself to the UFC. I'm not going to lie, my road with Cage Warriors hasn't always been sunshine and daisies. For the longest time, when I first signed with them, there was a lot of optimism, there's a lot of hope, there was a lot of like they're seeing a lot of potential, and then when you lose your first fight against a guy that you should have beat, and all credit to him, obviously he showed up on the night, but stuff like that just really put a salty taste in their mouths towards me, I feel. I mean, although they've done an amazing job with promotion for me, that they've sort of done a really good job for getting the platform for me to get noticed and get seen by people, because that's the only promotion that really gets known from Britain. Do you know what I mean? There's no other real British promotion that is seen with such high regard. So I had to work my way up slowly. After I got injured and stuff like that, I had to come back, regroup. I had to actually win a kickboxing fight to get their attention again, because I signed a 5-fight contract with them, and we sent loads of messages saying, oh yeah, we're ready to fight, and then there was just no response. I'll go and take a kickboxing fight and knock the guy out in 12 seconds, and then they start noticing. So, and then it was really a case of me having to build my way back up. Like, I had to prove myself every fight. We took dangerous fights and stuff like that. And we even had to take a fight outside the promotion to win the Fight Star Championship belt, just to stay active, because they couldn't find me a fight and they couldn't find me opponents. And then the last year was really like the breakthrough year, where I said, me and my dad literally sat down and told them and said, listen, we want high-level opportunity, like high-level opposition. We want guys that are meant to beat us. I mean, listen, we don't want to fight guys that we're on paper supposed to beat. We want those guys that are going to, on paper, supposed to beat us. So they gave us exactly those fights. So to be a massive credit to them, when they needed to deliver, they always delivered.
You went from preparing for Mojeda to now getting ready to fight Michailidis, like I mentioned earlier. How much can you actually scout Andreas in that time? And do you just kind of go into this fight with the goal of being technical, being mistake free, and if you do that, you should be fine. It's far less about worrying about what he's going to do and just making sure you do what you do right.
Yeah, I think preparing for Vinicius has actually helped me a lot to work on the grappling defense, especially. Like, really, listen, he's more of a. It seems like he's very all-rounded. I have to admit, in my opinion, he's probably a more dangerous opponent than Vinicius in terms of overall skill set. Even though Vinicius is very dangerous on the floor, so for us, the fact that he's a step up in competition for us or in skill set, it just makes me want to step up in my game. So, everything that we worked on sort of the anti-grappling and anti-wrestling for my previous opponent, I think will fare very well with my new opponent, but I'll just be able to strike more. I'll be able to do my thing more instead of having to be so cautious. But obviously at the same time, they may bring something else. Listen, if anyone's losing in the striking exchanges, that's the first thing that people usually do. I thought with Wojciech that it was going to be a striking exchange. It ended up being a wrestling battle. So, at the end of the day, we are prepared for anything. We like I said, we've been working extensively on the game. I think the fact that we worked extensively on the game plan for Moreira is going to help me massively with the game plan from Michailidis.
And that's interesting, because that's where I was going to go next, that you bring up Vinicius might have been more dangerous. So if he is more dangerous, then what does Andreas bring to the table? That does make him someone you need to be careful about. Like, are there certain aspects of his game that in the little time you've been able to watch him and stuff like that, okay, this is where I need to be careful. This is where he can be dangerous. I have to watch out for this stuff.
He's more all-rounded than Moreira. So, like I say, Moreira had a very one-track mind of getting the guy down and doing his stuff on the floor. Like I say, he's a technician on the floor, so obviously that's where he wants it. But with Andreas, he's got more of an overall skill set. He can strike very well, which is, I think, his main background. He can wrestle, and he's got very good jiu-jitsu. So, he's got an overall skill set that really you just have to be in that mind frame of just working everything as much as you want. But
right.
Obviously I've been working specifically on doing things MMA orientated, like where and see, the thing is people haven't really been seeing like my grappling too much, because I want to keep it standing. So like I say, there's going to be many things that are going to be pulled out the bag as as fights go on and stuff like that. With that particular opponent, like I said, it's just a case of adapting to how he's going to play his game. And if it goes with a striking exchange, obviously I'm more than happy with that. So yeah, like I said, I'm very excited. It's a very exciting matchup because I've got such a high level opponent. It just makes me that more ambitious, excited, and motivated to go in and do the job. Because yeah, like I say, it's just amazing.
And like we talked about a little bit earlier, the heat and everything, we talked about it off air. I told you, I talked with Calvin Cater. I asked Calvin Cater, had he gone to the facility where the event's going to get held, and he hadn't yet, because the curious question is, and we're all going to probably find out when 251 starts, previous events in Abu Dhabi, they've been hot. Even though they've been inside something, it's been hot. They said felt like 100 degrees inside the arena for the Khabib Poirier fight. Is there any preparation, or even have you been given any assurances by UFC staff, like, okay, guys, it's not going to be that hot? But if they haven't, have you and your team kept that in mind? Like, it could be real hot in there, so let's be ready to possibly be fighting in 100 degrees.
I ain't gonna lie to you. We're training in my gym in my house. Yeah, training at my gym in my house. It's such thick walls because we'd made it specifically to reduce the noise for our neighbors, and mate, it just soaks in all the heat. Like, literally, we had to buy an industrial fan just to make it somewhat bearable. And before that, we didn't even have the fan, and it was insane. Like, literally, just puddles, just pools of sweat everywhere. So in that case, I'm sort of prepared. I mean, it's not nice. It's not bearable, but I doubt it's going to be that unbearable inside the arena. From what I can see, it looks like it's going to be well air conditioned. And, I mean, listen, if guys are coming in commentating wearing suits and that and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure it's going to be somewhat comfortable enough for you to go sit in there in the suit without sweating your butt off. So, like I say, whatever comes about, you just have to sort of just get on with it, think in your head, this is nothing I haven't seen before. And yeah, it might play to an advantage or a disadvantage, but I think it's going to play to my advantage, even if it's a little bit hotter in there, because I'm just so used to it training with my dad.
Yeah.
So it's going to affect everyone's cardio. But of course, I think the UFC are going to try their best to make sure that the fighters are able to perform at the highest level. I mean, the stuff they do with the Performance Institute and stuff like that, they're trying to get these athletes to perform at the highest level. I think that's going to be the same philosophy is going to be then transferred onto the cage in terms of we want these athletes to be able to put on a show. So let's make sure it's bearable enough for them to be able to do that.